If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns may be on the verge of making a bold and unexpected move that could shake up not only their quarterback room but also the team's long-term future. And the name at the center of it all is none other than Shedeur Sanders. After sliding down the NFL draft board and landing in the 5th round with the 144th overall pick, many thought Sanders would take time to develop. But what's happened since April has turned heads in Brea and beyond. The former Colorado Buffaloes star came into OTA letters with questions looming over whether his college success could translate to the NFL level. Many analysts pointed to his draft slide as evidence that teams doubted his arm, decision-making, or ability to handle the speed of the pro game. But just a few weeks into organized team activities, Sanders isn't just surviving, he's thriving. The buzz coming out of the Browns facility is real, and it's growing louder with each passing day. From the very first snap he took in Cleveland gear, Shedeur looked like a man on a mission, facing stiff competition in a quarterback room that includes Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco, former Steelers starter Kenny Pickett, and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel. Sanders could have easily faded into the background, but instead, he rose to the occasion. During the Browns' Otis session on June 4th, Sanders turned in arguably his most impressive outing yet, completing 9 of his 14 passes and tossing 3 touchdowns against just 1 interception. Coaches and teammates alike took notice, with insiders reporting that even the seasoned vets in the room were impressed by his poise, pocket presence, and uncanny ability to read the field. For a 5th-round rookie, those are rare traits to display this early. And in a league where first impressions matter, Sanders seems to be making all the right ones. What makes this even more intriguing is that the Browns are seriously considering keeping all 4 quarterbacks on their roster throughout the summer and potentially into the regular season. According to respected Browns insider Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com, the organization isn't viewing Sanders as a developmental player stashed away on the practice squad. They're looking at him as a legitimate asset who may force his way into the depth chart sooner rather than later. And the reason they can entertain this idea comes down to smart financial planning. Each of the quarterbacks, Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders, comes with a relatively low base salary and manageable cap hit. That gives Cleveland the rare luxury of holding onto all 4 without compromising their roster flexibility or future spending. Cabot explained it best when she described the Browns' current situation as straddling two worlds, balancing the need to win now while also preparing for what lies ahead in 2026. With Deshaun Watson's health and consistency still a question mark, and the unexpected treasure of the first-round picks from the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2026, Cleveland has positioned itself to pivot in either direction. If Sanders continues to impress, the team might not even need to dip into those high picks for a quarterback in 2 years. On the flip side, having those assets in their back pocket gives them leverage and possibly the confidence to take a risk on developing a young, dynamic talent like Shedeur. It's a win-win scenario that most franchises can only dream of pulling off. The fans, too, are starting to believe. Social media is buzzing with highlight clips from Sanders' OTA performances. Browns Nation, known for its passion and occasional impatience, has embraced the young quarterback with surprising speed. Many are already speculating that Sanders could leapfrog both Kenny Pickett and even Joe Flacco before the end of training camp. And while that might have seemed like a long shot back in April, it doesn't feel so far-fetched anymore. Flacco, despite his experience, is clearly not the long-term answer. Pickett has struggled with consistency since his days in Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, Sanders has brought an energy and confidence that's hard to ignore. He's making throws across the middle, hitting tight windows, and showing off mobility when the pocket collapses, exactly the traits you want in a modern-day NFL quarterback. But the story of Shedeur Sanders goes beyond just numbers and practice reps. It's about proving people wrong. It's about taking control of your narrative when others have written you off. Coming out of Colorado, Sanders was seen by many as a product of media hype, amplified by his famous father, Deion Sanders. Critics said he wouldn't last against elite college defenses, let alone in the NFL. Yet here he is less than 2 months into his pro career, forcing his name into every serious Browns quarterback conversation. That's not just impressive. That's remarkable, and if he keeps trending in this direction, the Browns coaching staff may soon have no choice but to give him a shot under center. Of course, there's still a long road ahead. The jump from OTA letters to training camp and then to preseason games is massive. Defenses will get tougher, playbooks will expand, and the pressure will mount. But Shedeur has already shown that he thrives in high-stakes environments, whether it was leading Colorado to thrilling wins in front of sold-out crowds, or silencing critics with late-game heroics. Sanders has built a reputation as a gamer. The Browns don't need him to be perfect. They just need him to be better than the other options in the room, and right now, that gap is shrinking faster than anyone expected. Let's also not forget the strategic ripple effects this could have across the organization. If Sanders emerges as a serious contender for the starting job or even the primary backup, it could reshape how Cleveland approaches the 2026 draft entirely. Those first-rounders from Jacksonville could be used to strengthen other parts of the roster, instead of chasing another quarterback, or if Sanders becomes a breakout star, he could elevate the Browns into playoff contention sooner than projected, making those picks even more valuable as trade bait. It's a scenario that hinges on one young man's ability to take advantage of an opportunity. And so far, Sanders has done exactly that. In the end, this is more than just a story about a fifth-round pick exceeding expectations. This is a story about timing, trust, and transformation. The Browns are at a pivotal crossroads, and Shedeur Sanders might be the piece that tilts their trajectory upward. Whether he starts week 1 or simply earns a spot on the 53-man roster, his presence is already impacting the culture in Cleveland, and as training camp nears, one thing is becoming increasingly clear: Shedeur Sanders isn't here to wait his turn. He's here to take it. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Ladies and gentlemen, Browns fans across the nation, get ready, because there's a buzz swirling around Berea that might just light the entire city of Cleveland on fire. Whispers have started making the rounds, and if the rumors hold even a grain of truth, the Browns might have just pulled off one of the sneakiest, most exciting offensive moves of the offseason. Word is that John Metchie III, yes, that John Metchie, the young, electric wide receiver out of Alabama, is making his way to Cleveland. Sources close to the situation hint that the Browns are finalizing a move that could see Metchie suiting up in brown and orange this season. Now, while nothing is official just yet, and the front office is playing it coy, insiders say the wheels are already in motion. And if it's true, buckle up, folks. This could be huge for this offense. Now, I know what you're thinking. John Metchie, the same guy who battled leukemia, fought back, and returned to the field with heart, grit, and that signature Alabama toughness. Yep, that's him. And if this move pans out, it's not just a comeback story, it's a Brown-style redemption arc waiting to unfold on the gridiron. Metchie, for those who may have forgotten, was a standout with the Crimson Tide. A crisp route runner with elite separation and the kind of hands you just can't teach. His NFL journey with the Texans hasn't quite exploded the way some predicted, mostly due to health setbacks. But guess what? Cleveland might be ready to give him the fresh start he needs, and in return, they just might be getting a game-changer who's ready to prove every doubter wrong. Let's talk about fit for a moment. The Browns have quietly been assembling one of the most intriguing offenses in the AFC, with Deshaun Watson under center looking to reclaim his Pro Bowl four-man backfield that remains formidable even without Nick Chubb at 100%. Adding Metchie could be the cherry on top. Amari Cooper already commands attention. Elijah Moore is still developing chemistry in the slot. David Njoku stretches the field as a tight end, but that WR3 or even WR4 spot, that's where Metchie slides in perfectly. He brings explosiveness after the catch, precise timing on his routes, and maybe most importantly, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. If this turns out to be true, Kevin Stefanski might just have another weapon to tinker within his playbook. And this isn't just about stats. It's about attitude. It's about resilience. John Metchie's journey has already earned him respect across the league. But you better believe he's still hungry to prove that he belongs. That the fight he endured off the field will translate to dominance on it. The Browns have built a locker room full of Warriors guys who've had to claw their way into the league, who've faced adversity and come back stronger. In that sense, Metchie is a perfect cultural fit, and from what I'm hearing, Cleveland sees this not just as a low-risk pickup, but as a potential high-reward transformation. A quiet move, sure, but one that could echo loudly when the season kicks off in September. Now let's zoom out. Why now? Why would the Browns make a move for Metchie at this stage of the offseason? Well, let's connect the dots. There's been talk that the Texans' wide receiver room is getting crowded, with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and the addition of Stefon Diggs, someone's going to get squeezed out of that rotation. METCHIE, despite his talent, might find himself buried on the depth chart. For the Browns, that's opportunity knocking. A young, coachable receiver with upside, likely available at a discount. That's the kind of savvy move that separates smart franchises from the rest. This wouldn't be a blockbuster headline trade, but insiders say it has the potential to become one of the most impactful, under-the-radar acquisitions of the year, and let me tell you, fans are already buzzing. Social media's been heating up since the first whispers started leaking out. Reddit threads, Twitter rumors, and even some private IG activity between METCHIE and a few Browns players have people wondering if something's already cooking behind the scenes. There's speculation that Deshaun Watson, who shares ties to Houston, may have even had a hand in pushing for this connection. Wouldn't that be something? A reunion of sorts, quarterback and receiver, both with something to prove and everything to gain. It's early days, but from what we're hearing, there's fire beneath the smoke, and where there's fire, you know something's about to ignite. Coaches love guys like METCHIE. The tape doesn't lie. His footwork, the way he finds soft spots in zone, the awareness in scramble drills, it's all there. The health concerns are behind him now, and what's left is a polished, mature, mentally tough receiver who's still just 24 years old. He's the kind of player that can thrive in Stefanski's system. Short passes, yards after catch, timing-based plays. METCHIE's game fits like a glove, and you know the Browns love versatility. A guy who can line up inside or outside, keep defenses guessing, and contribute right away. That's gold, especially in a division as competitive as the AFC North. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, they're all watching too, because a move like this, it doesn't just help the Browns. It shakes up the entire division. Of course, nothing's official yet. The front office is staying tight-lipped, which only adds to the mystery. But this has all the makings of a classic Andrew Berry move: quiet, calculated, and potentially brilliant. Berry has built a reputation for finding value in unexpected places. If METCHIE is on his radar, and by all accounts he is, then you can bet the Browns aren't just window shopping. This is about depth, about insurance, about upside, and honestly, about sending a message that the Browns are not standing still, that they're still building, still improving, still chasing greatness. That's the kind of mindset that takes a good team and turns it into a serious contender. And let's not forget the fan base. Cleveland has been starving for a wide receiver breakout ever since Josh Gordon's electric run nearly a decade ago. METCHIE may not be the big name yet, but the potential is there, and Browns fans, they know how to rally around an underdog. They've seen heart, they've seen passion. And if this rumor becomes reality, you can expect FirstEnergy Stadium to erupt the first time METCHIE hauls in a clutch third-down catch or breaks free for a 40-yard gain. He brings that X factor, that spark, that what-if energy that makes football so damn exciting. And in a season where every play could matter, that energy might be just what the Browns need. So, Browns Nation, keep your eyes peeled, your notifications on, and your fingers crossed. This John METCHIE rumor might just be the beginning of something special, a quiet signing, sure, a rumor for now. But sometimes the most impactful moves aren't the ones that come with fireworks and press conferences. Sometimes it's the whispers in the wind that change the course of a season. And if the Browns really are bringing METCHIE to the Dawg Pound, then this offense just got a whole lot more dangerous. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!